Hello YouTube stackers, this is ST with Silver Stacking 101. This video is continuing the series on investing in silver. Let me define what I mean. We take fiat currency, buy silver with the intention of reselling the silver in fiat currency and put a little scratch in our pocket for our trouble. Now, there's some considerations, some measurements that we have to take into account when we do this. Silver has some unique properties, so all measurements that apply to investments will not apply to silver. Most, however, will. The first and most important is what we buy it for. Duh. Buy low, sell high, make money. Seemed like I heard that somewhere. Second consideration is what we sell it for. The third is the length of time we hold the asset. Those are our prime measurements, but they're not all the measurements. There are 7 major measurements that go under the prime measurements. The first is cost of capital. Why is that important? If we are paying 12, 14, 16% on consumer debt that is non-deductible, we have to make that after taxes to break even. So, do you want to go into an investment knowing you have to make 16% to break even? It will be better to pay off the non-deductible consumer debt. In other words, pay your credit cards, your furniture bills off before you go investing in non-tax deferred investments. I'm not saying don't participate in your retirement plan, but before we go out and invest, we need to eliminate our consumer debt interest. Very important. The second consideration is inflation. This is extremely important with silver. Silver closely follows the inflation, or basically the devaluation in the US dollar or fiat currency in general. So, if we bought silver in 1960 and we held it through today, we would have very, very little economic gain. On paper, we will have a huge gain, but the dollar has been devalued to such a degree, we will not enjoy a big increase in purchasing power when converted back to fiat currency. The third situation makes it even worse. Taxes. Silver is taxed at 28% capital gains rate because it is considered a collectible. In our 1960 example, through today, not only have we enjoyed very little gain in economic buying power, when we sell it, we have to pay 28% of our gain. Guess what? Our economic buying power, when we get done with the transaction, is actually less than it was in 1960. So even though we may have more fiat currency, we can't buy as much stuff as we bought in we could have bought in 1960 with the fiat or with the currency we went into silver with. Also, earnings. Silver doesn't produce anything. It just sits there. So when we buy it, we don't have to calculate earnings. That's one item that is different from stocks, rental property, so forth. we do not have to worry about calculating our earnings. At the same time, another consideration is carrying cost. Silver has very, very little carrying cost. We can go out with a shovel, stick it under some dirt, not costing us a penny to store the silver. So that's important. Opportunity cost. While we're stuck in the silver investment, are there better investments going to come along? Keep in mind, silver has a tendency to move sideways for long periods of time. That works against us. So, the opportunity costs are an issue. Also, and this is the big one, the beta coefficient. Beta coefficient is a technical term that measures the volatility. Silver has brief periods of volatility followed by long periods of stability. But the volatility is the point where we can make our money. Now, if you ever see beta coefficient, if you ever pull up a stock and you see the quote, and they'll have like the PE, the debt to equity ratio, and then they'll have beta. That's telling us how volatile the stock moves. Well, silver, as I said before, does not typically move rapidly. It typically follows the inflation of goods relative to the US dollar. It is when silver goes into periods of volatility, opportunity exists. And we're going to get to what the true value of an ounce of silver in terms of goods and services currently is, what it has historically been, how to identify when it is undervalued by that point. Also, we will be able to identify when it's overvalued. There are other considerations that come into play, risk tolerance, time horizon, and a few more. That's beyond the scope of this particular video. Now, of these, if we go through, we can control our cost of capital. We pay off our debt. We cannot control volatility. I doubt anybody watching this video has the wherewithal to affect the market. But if we understand the volatility, we can play the volatility to our benefit. Taxes, well, we pretty much screwed there. That's pretty much going to happen. The price we sell it at, well, it's got to get to the price we want. We can't control that. The time we hold it till it gets to the price we want to sell at, I don't know. During that time, inflation's working against us. So keep in mind, if we come in at the wrong price point and we're stuck sideways in silver, we're losing economic buying power. Goes into that 1960 example again. And I just picked 1960, except for brief periods of volatility. You could pick any time period since World War II and make the same exact argument. Now, when we have brief periods like we had a few years ago, no, you can't. But that's where the opportunity exists, especially since silver went through the floor right before going up. If we understood the true economic value of silver, we would know when to buy, and that was when it went through the floor. And by the way, that's when no one else wants to buy. It's crazy. I don't understand it. So, what is the most important of everything? What is the one thing that we can absolutely control? We can control the price we buy it at. Because if it's not at the price, we don't buy the asset. That is our one key to everything. Once we buy the asset, so much goes on beyond our control if we hope to be successful at silver investing. So understanding the true economic value of silver is imperative. And establishing an entry point that makes sense is crucial to the success of our silver investing. It is our one point we can control. Now, why do I stress this so much? The pumpers are wrong, and here's where they're wrong. They scream, buy it now, don't worry about it, it's going to the moon. Well, keep in mind, these jokers have been wrong every year. They do not have a reliable model that will tell them what the price is going to. If they have a model at all, I suspect most of them use the WAG method, wild ass guess. We don't have a reliable model. We can say what it should be selling for based on historical data. We know when it goes below that point, it is a buy. The further it goes below that point, the stronger buy it is. We can look at the volatility when it moves up and the speed of the volatility and try to guess a good exit point when it moves the other direction. We can play it that way, and we can safely play it that way. But just to arbitrarily, silver's a great investment, go buy, what is the price you're going to buy at? That's the one thing you can't control, and the pumpers tell you don't pay attention to the one item, the most important item in an equation. Most successful investors I know, well, all successful investors I know, and believe me, I know a few, are obsessed with the purchase price. They are more obsessed with the purchase price than the selling price. They believe their value is built in, their gains are built in when they buy an asset that's undervalued. So if we can identify when it's undervalued, that's when we buy it. So please don't let someone scare you into there will be no more silver, it's going to the moon. The same guys have been saying that forever. Let's look at this it's easy for me to say logically, and let's look at this from a historical perspective, and let's apply sound investing principles. Subscribe if you haven't. This coming Wednesday's video will be on civil forfeitures. Next week is a very, very important video, and that's where we're going to talk about the true economic value of silver from a historical perspective. Me being an accountant, I like things that I can measure, I can put pencil to paper and prove. Comment if you disagree. Tell me why. I love disagreement. I invite disagreement. If you agree, tell me why. If you got another take on this, please feel free to comment. I love the discussions we have on the comments. That is what makes this channel. I'm ST. My email address is stsilverstacker@gmail.com. I'm not going to reshoot this video for that one gaffe there, or a couple gaffes. stsilverstacker@gmail.com. The website is coming. It will be silverstacking101 at silverstacking101.com. God bless you. Thank you for watching.